Welcome back to Cybercrime Chronicles, where we take you deep into the hidden world of cybercrime, exposing the hackers, the schemes, and the catastrophic breaches that change industries forever. Today, we revisit a moment in history when Wall Street's digital security was shattered, when America's largest bank, JPMorgan Chase, became the victim of one of the most audacious hacks the financial world has ever seen. This wasn't just a cyber incident. It was a wake-up call for the entire banking industry. The 2014 JPMorgan Chase hack compromised data from more than 83 million accounts, 76 million households, and 7 million small businesses, and sent shockwaves through the global financial system. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our deep dives into cases like this, stories where technology, crime, and human error collide. And if you think big banks are untouchable, you're about to see just how wrong that assumption can be. It's 2014. JPMorgan Chase is more than just a bank. It's a fortress. With over $2.5 trillion in assets, advanced encryption, and state-of-the-art intrusion detection, its digital defenses are built to keep out everyone from amateur hackers to nation-state actors. For most, this fortress would be an impossible target. But for a certain group of Russian hackers, JPMorgan wasn't just a challenge, it was the ultimate prize. These hackers weren't looking for the obvious way in. They didn't storm the front gates. Instead, they searched for a hidden side door, something small, overlooked, and after months of reconnaissance, they found it. A small third-party vendor that ran a simple website for JPMorgan's corporate challenge charity event. On the surface, it seemed harmless, but deep in its system was the jackpot: stolen employee credentials, a username and password combo that was like a master key into JPMorgan's internal network. Think about that. The most powerful bank in the United States breached not through some Hollywood-style hack into the core servers, but through a forgotten vendor site with outdated security. This is the essence of a supply chain attack. Your cybersecurity is only as strong as your weakest partner, and in this case, one small vulnerability opened the door to 83 million accounts. Once inside, the hackers moved carefully. They didn't smash and grab, they lingered. They mapped the network, learned its structure, and slowly escalated their privileges until they had root access to over 90 servers. They deployed custom malware to maintain persistence and avoid detection. Every move was deliberate, every action calculated. Over weeks, they siphoned off names, addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses. Not a single account number or password was stolen, but make no mistake, this data was pure gold. With it, you can launch phishing campaigns that look real, target wealthy investors for scams, or build massive identity theft operations. Now here's where it gets even more shocking. For months, no one at JPMorgan noticed. The hackers operated in the shadows, slipping through digital cracks, blending into normal traffic. It wasn't until late July 2014 that an unusual pattern in the logs raised a red flag. JPMorgan's incident response team went into overdrive, isolating servers and analyzing the breach. What they found was a sobering truth. The compromised server did not have two-factor authentication enabled. A simple, widely available security step that could have stopped the hackers cold had been overlooked. At this point, the FBI, the U.S. Secret Service, and cybersecurity firms like FireEye and CrowdStrike were brought in. The investigation revealed that the hackers were part of a sophisticated Russian cybercrime syndicate with names that would soon make headlines: Gary Shalon, Ziv Orenstein, Joshua Samuel Aaron, and Andrei Turin. This was organized cybercrime at an industrial scale, a network involved in pump-and-dump stock schemes, illegal online casinos, unlicensed Bitcoin exchanges, and global identity theft. The stolen JPMorgan data wasn't just a trophy. It was fuel for their schemes. Imagine having a marketing list of millions of verified, financially active customers. They could target these people with fake investment tips, manipulate stock prices, and cash out millions before anyone caught on. And that's exactly what they planned to do. Arrests came in waves between 2015 and 2018. Shaylon and Orenstein were taken into custody in Israel. Aaron was caught in Moscow and later extradited. Turin was arrested in Georgia and extradited to the U.S., where he eventually pleaded guilty to hacking not just JPMorgan, but a dozen other companies. Turin received a 12-year sentence and was ordered to forfeit $19 million. Shaylon agreed to forfeit over $400 million in assets, making it one of the largest forfeiture amounts in a cybercrime case. For JPMorgan, the breach cost far more than money. It was a blow to its reputation. They poured $250 million into overhauling their cybersecurity, rolling out two-factor authentication across all systems, enhancing vendor vetting, and deploying advanced threat detection tools. The industry took notice. Banks across the globe began reevaluating their security protocols, especially around third-party risk. Regulators imposed stricter rules, requiring regular security audits, breach reporting, and minimum cybersecurity standards for all vendors. For consumers, the message was equally clear: never assume your data is safe just because it is with a big name. Use strong passwords, enable two-factor authentication on every account, and stay alert to phishing attempts. The JPMorgan Chase hack of 2014 remains one of the largest data breaches in history, and its lessons are as relevant today as they were then. Cybersecurity isn't a product you buy once. It's an ongoing battle against evolving threats. Hackers are creative, patient, and relentless. Sometimes all it takes is one forgotten setting, one unsecured vendor, or one stolen password to bring down an empire. If you're finding this breakdown insightful, take a second to hit that like button. It tells YouTube that this is worth sharing, and it helps more people understand the reality of cybercrime. And tell me in the comments, what do you think is the biggest cybersecurity risk today? Hackers, insider threats, or third-party vendors? The legacy of the JPMorgan breach is twofold. First, it exposed the hidden weaknesses in even the most secure-seeming institutions. Second, it showed the world that cybercrime is not just about stealing money. It's about stealing trust, disrupting systems, and proving that no target is too big. So next time you hear about a company boasting bulletproof security, remember this story. Remember that a group of hackers halfway across the world walked right into the largest bank in America, stayed there for months, and walked out with a quarter of the U.S. population's personal data, all because of a single weak link. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep your defenses up. Because in the digital world, it's not a question of if someone will try to get in, it's when. And as the JPMorgan case proves, sometimes the smallest crack can let in the biggest storm. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the JPMorgan Chase hack, subscribe to Cybercrime Chronicles for more true stories from the front lines of the digital underworld. Until next time, protect your data, question your security, and remember, in the age of cybercrime, trust is the most valuable currency of all.